Do you want to strengthen your legs, have more energy, and take better care of your health? The right nuts can help you with that. Many older adults feel tired and weak in their legs, but they don't realize that their diet could be the key. Certain nuts have the power to nourish your muscles, improve your circulation, and give your body more energy. But only if you know how to choose them. Stay with me until the end, because today's tips can change the way you eat and help you live with much more strength, lightness, and health after 60. In this video, I'll show you 4 powerful nuts that will help you have strong and healthy legs. Right after, I'll show you 4 more that you should avoid eating. Now, let's talk about the first nut on our list. Pistachios. Many people over the age of 60 have been in the following situation. It's late afternoon, you're feeling hungry, and then the question arises, should you eat anything or try to stay in control? This was the case for 68-year-old Teresa, who decided to swap her usual salted crackers for a handful of pistachios. After a few weeks, she noticed that she was less bloated, her legs felt less tired, and she was even sleeping better. It wasn't a miracle, just a simple adjustment to her diet. Pistachios are one of the most complete snacks there is. They contain protein, fiber, and good fat. This means they are filling without weighing you down. They also help control hunger between meals. It's no exaggeration. Eating pistachios in the middle of the afternoon can prevent you from overeating at dinner. There's also something else important here. Circulation. Pistachios contain arginine, a compound that helps the body's blood vessels stay open and functioning properly. This can relieve that feeling of heavy legs, especially at the end of the day. It even improves blood pressure, which everyone over 60 should keep a close eye on. There's one more thing that makes a difference. Pistachios don't mess with your blood sugar. They have a low glycemic index. That means they don't cause those glucose spikes that leave you feeling tired later. This is good for people with diabetes or who are trying to prevent it. Now, there's one important detail. Not just any pistachios. Those sold with a lot of salt, seasoning, or covered in artificial flavors lose many of their benefits. It's best to choose natural or lightly roasted pistachios without salt. The plain version is the most beneficial. A handful a day is enough. They're easy to store, carry in your bag, and fit into your routine. No need to overdo it. But including pistachios a few times a week can help maintain energy, weight control, and leg health. It's a small food, but it packs a punch. Now let's talk about the second nut on this list. But before we continue, make sure your subscription to the channel is active. And take the opportunity to comment on where you're watching from. It's amazing to see how this content is reaching people in so many places around the world. Next nut. Brazil nuts. Have you ever had that feeling that your body doesn't respond like it used to? Sometimes, even without exertion, your legs feel heavy, or you get cramps, especially at night, which interrupt your sleep and take a long time to go away. This happens to many people over the age of 60. What not everyone knows is that a lack of certain minerals in the body may be behind this. One of them is selenium, and Brazil nuts are one of the best ways to get this nutrient without any hassle. This nut has one of the highest natural concentrations of selenium in existence, and the body only needs a small amount per day, which you can get from a single nut. Just one. This mineral has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. This helps protect tissues, veins, and muscles from the natural wear and tear of aging. It also helps fight chronic inflammation that we sometimes don't even notice, but which impedes circulation and increases pain throughout the body. Improving circulation has a direct impact on the legs. With blood flowing well, there is less swelling, less tingling, and more energy to walk, climb stairs, or simply get up from a chair without feeling stiff. In addition, Brazil nuts contain magnesium and phosphorus, 2 minerals that aid muscle health. If you feel weak when walking or have fallen due to imbalance, these nutrients are part of regaining strength and stability. But there is one important detail. Too much selenium is not good for you. Therefore, it is best to consume 1 Brazil nut per day, 2 at most. More than that can overload the body and cause adverse effects. Just because it is healthy does not mean you can eat as much as you want. Another thing, They are high in calories. So, if your goal is to keep your weight under control, the amount also matters. But the good news is that because they are rich in good fat and fiber, they help you feel full. In other words, they curb your appetite for longer, which prevents unnecessary snacking between meals. Brazil nuts are practical. You don't need to prepare, cook, or mix them. You can eat them plain for breakfast or as a midday snack. It's a simple and efficient way to add an important nutrient to your daily diet and take care of your circulation, muscles, and mood naturally. Next item on our list: walnuts. If you've noticed that you're forgetting where you left your keys or that certain thoughts take longer to organize, this may have more to do with your diet than you think. Memory, clarity, and even mood are affected by what we eat. And when it comes to taking care of your brain with food, walnuts have a guaranteed place. This type of nut is rich in plant-based omega-3, a nutrient that helps protect the brain from aging. After age 60, memory tends to slow down and reasoning takes longer. Walnuts help slow down this process. In addition, omega-3 also plays an important role in circulation because it reduces inflammation in the blood vessels and improves blood flow. This makes a difference especially in the extremities, such as the legs and feet. Another important point is the heart. Walnuts help lower bad cholesterol, LDL, and increase good cholesterol, HDL. This protects against high blood pressure, clogged arteries, and circulation problems. And since the heart and legs work together all the time, when one works better, the other feels the effects. Walnuts also contain antioxidants, B vitamins, and minerals such as copper and manganese. All of this contributes to healthy joints, muscles, and nerves. This can relieve that stiffness in your legs in the morning when everything seems sluggish, or that nagging pain at the end of the day. Now, it's important to remember that walnuts are high in calories. A small handful per day is enough. Around 30 grams, that's about 7 whole walnuts. You don't need more than that. You can eat them plain, with fruit, or mixed in yogurt or oatmeal. It's also worth paying attention to how you store them. Walnuts spoil easily if stored in a hot or humid place. Ideally, keep them in a closed container, preferably in the refrigerator, to preserve their natural oils. Even though they are simple, nuts offer a good boost for the mind, heart, and circulation. And when these three work well together, the whole body benefits, especially when it comes to staying active, walking with more confidence, and feeling less tired at the end of the day. Now let's talk about the fourth nut on our list, almonds. Have you ever felt too tired, even though you haven't done much? Or noticed that your skin is drier, your hair is dull, and your nails break easily? These signs may seem like a sign of aging, but they are often linked to a lack of certain nutrients. Almonds are a practical way to give your body what it needs to stay strong, inside and out. They are an excellent source of vitamin E, an antioxidant that protects cells from the effects of aging. This isn't just a matter of appearance, it's a real boost to the nervous system and heart health. Vitamin E also helps protect the skin from sun damage and natural aging, which is important for those who spend a lot of time outdoors or have sensitive skin. Another benefit of almonds is magnesium. This mineral plays a direct role in bone and muscle health. It helps prevent weakness, cramps, and even that feeling that your leg is shutting down from time to time. In addition, magnesium helps maintain a stable heartbeat and can help control blood pressure. Almonds also contain fiber, which helps the intestines function better. This makes a difference in digestion, but also in cholesterol control and satiety. Eating a handful of almonds between meals prevents overeating at the next meal. And because they are rich in good fats, they provide energy without causing the spikes and crashes that foods high in sugar cause. Of course, like all oilseeds, they are high in calories. Therefore, it is best to consume them in moderation. 20 to 30 grams per day, about 15 to 20 units, is enough to reap the benefits. Choose the unsalted version and, if possible, without added sugar or coating. Another positive aspect of almonds is their practicality. They do not need to be prepared, do not spoil easily, and can be carried in your bag, stored in your desk drawer, or left in the fruit bowl in the kitchen. They are always there when you feel hungry between meals. With small changes in your daily routine, such as including almonds, you can keep your body stronger, with more energy, less pain, and more vitality. It's not a magic solution, but it's a choice that helps, and without effort. Now that you've seen which nuts can help your body function better, especially after age 60, it's worth talking about the other side of the story. Not all nuts are a good choice for everyday consumption. Some have excessive nutrients, others interfere with circulation, and there are even those that can interfere with medications taken on a regular basis. This is not a reason to panic or cut everything out of your diet, but rather to understand what can cause more problems than benefits, especially when the goal is to have more comfortable legs, less swelling, and more energy. So from now on, let's talk about the nuts that are best to avoid, or at least consume with caution. 1. Pine nuts. Pine nuts tend to appear more often at winter parties, but many people like them so much that they end up eating them all year round. They are tasty, warm the stomach, and seem harmless. However, for those over 60, it is worth paying attention. Behind their thick shell there are things that not everyone knows about, and that can cause more harm than good, especially for those who take medication on a regular basis. The main problem with pine nuts is their potential interaction with medications. They can affect how certain medications are absorbed or metabolized in the body. This happens because they contain compounds that alter taste and also influence certain liver enzymes. If you've ever noticed a change in the taste of food after eating pine nuts, it wasn't just your imagination. It's a real effect that has been observed in several studies. And when your taste changes, your diet changes too, and that affects your overall health. In addition, pine nuts are rich in carbohydrates. This is not a problem for everyone, but for those who need to control their blood sugar, such as diabetics or people with prediabetes, it can be a problem. They have a type of energy that quickly turns into glucose, and if you eat a large portion, thinking you are eating something light, you may end up with high blood sugar without realizing it. Another point to note is related to vision. Some studies link excessive consumption of pine nuts to effects on the retina, especially in people who already have a condition related to aging, such as macular degeneration. This does not mean that 1 or 2 pine nuts will cause a problem. But anyone with a history of eye disease should talk to their doctor before including this food in their diet on a regular basis. Pine nuts are also high in calories. Many people eat them without control because they seem light and are easy to prepare in large quantities. But in a short time, consumption exceeds the limit and weighs heavily on the scale. Excess weight directly impacts the legs, joints, and mobility in everyday life. If you like pine nuts, you don't have to eliminate them entirely. It is best to save them for special occasions and eat them in small quantities. But if your focus is on maintaining healthy legs and circulation and avoiding surprises with glucose or medication, it is best to choose other, safer, and more balanced options. 2. Cashews. Cashews are very common here. Many people grew up eating nuts at family parties, and cashews were almost always present. They are tasty, have a good texture, and seem like a healthy option. But in practice, for those over 60, they deserve special attention, especially if there is a history of diabetes, kidney problems, or difficulties in calcium absorption. Despite being an oilseed, cashews have a higher carbohydrate content than other nuts. This means that when digested, they turn into sugar more quickly, and this can be a problem for those who need to keep their glucose levels under control. Eating cashews frequently and in larger quantities than recommended can disrupt blood sugar levels without you even noticing. This is true even for those who think they are eating something natural and light. Another important point: these nuts contain oxalates, which are natural compounds found in some foods. In excess, they can interfere with calcium absorption, which directly impacts bone health. For those who are already at risk for osteopenia or osteoporosis, this can be a real concern. In addition, oxalates overload the kidneys. People who are prone to forming stones or already have some degree of kidney failure should be even more careful. It is also high in calories, and because it is so tasty, it is easy to overindulge without realizing it. The combination of unregulated blood sugar, risk to the kidneys, and impact on calcium is enough to recommend moderation. But when you add weight gain to that, the impact on leg and joint health appears even faster. Of course, if consumed sporadically and in small quantities, it will not cause problems for everyone. What you should not do is turn cashews into a frequent snack, thinking that you are always making a healthy choice. For those who already deal with a chronic condition or use ongoing medication, it is best to talk to a professional before including this type of nut in your routine. In summary, they are not bad for you, but they are not the best option when thinking about long-term health, especially after the age of 60. There are other nuts that are safer and more balanced for those who want to keep their circulation healthy, protect their bones, and avoid surprises with their blood sugar levels. 3. Macadamia nuts. When talking about more chic nuts, macadamia nuts usually come to mind. They have a smooth texture, mild flavor, and are often found in more refined recipes. But what many people don't know is that, despite being natural, these nuts can pose more risks than benefits for those over 60, especially if consumed frequently. The first point is the calorie content. Macadamia nuts are among the most calorie-dense nuts available. This means that even small portions are high in energy. If you are trying to control your weight, avoid joint pain, or improve mobility, this type of food can end up working against you. Over time, excess calories turn into body fat, and that weighs on the legs, knees, and ankles. In addition, macadamia nuts are high in fat. It is true that much of it is monounsaturated fat, which can be good for the heart, but this fat is too concentrated. If consumed in excess or together with other calorie sources, the risk of uncontrolled cholesterol increases. And for those who already take medication for blood pressure, cholesterol, or have a history of cardiovascular problems, this detail makes a difference. Another point is the low fiber content. Macadamia nuts are not as filling as other nuts, so even though they are high in calories, they do not satisfy hunger. People eat them, feel that it was not enough, and end up eating more, and this is the type of food that is easy to overindulge in. The soft texture and pleasant taste make them seem harmless, but the body feels when they are consumed in excess, especially as we age, when our metabolism slows down. It's not about banning them, but understanding that macadamia nuts are a nut for occasional consumption, a day of celebration, a special dessert, or something out of the ordinary, but not as part of your daily snack or always mixed with cereal and fruit. There are more balanced options for everyday consumption, with less fat, fewer calories, and more fiber. If the goal is to take care of circulation, weight control, heart health, and energy levels when walking, macadamia nuts may not be the best ally. It's good to know that not everything that is natural is automatically healthy in any quantity, and over time, this type of conscious choice prevents bigger problems. 4. Peanuts. Peanuts are one of those foods that seem to be everywhere. Bars, snacks, spreads, sweets, cookies. And many people think that because they are plant-based, they are always a good choice. But in practice, peanuts raise some important red flags, especially for those over 60. The first point to consider is the quality of the peanuts that end up on your table. Because they are very sensitive to moisture, they can develop a toxin called aflatoxin. This compound cannot be detected in taste or smell, but it can affect the liver over time. This is even more concerning for those who take daily medications, as the liver is responsible for processing many of them. In the long term, this can cause serious damage. Another point is the type of fat present in peanuts. Although they contain good fats, they are also often mixed with salt, sugar, and refined oils, especially in processed versions. These additives increase the risk of high blood pressure, weight gain, and uncontrolled cholesterol. For those who already live with these conditions, poorly chosen peanuts can become a problem. They're also quite high in calories, and unlike other nuts that provide more fiber and help control satiety, peanuts are easy to overeat. A small serving has a lot of calories, but doesn't keep you full for very long. The result? You're hungry again shortly after, and with that, the chance of eating more than you need. In addition, there is the issue of inflammation. Studies show that peanuts, especially processed ones, can increase inflammatory markers in some people. This affects circulation and worsens symptoms such as leg pain, swelling, and a feeling of heaviness. Exactly the kind of problem you want to avoid after 60. Of course, eating peanuts occasionally in small amounts and in the most natural form possible is not a problem for everyone. But when it becomes a daily habit, or when it is consumed without discretion, it can do more harm than good. Ideally, if you still want to include peanuts in your diet, opt for raw or roasted unsalted peanuts and eat them in very small portions, and always pay attention to where they come from. But if your goal is to take care of your leg health, circulation, blood pressure, and weight, it may be better to make room for other safer and more balanced nuts. Now that you know which nuts help and which ones can hurt, it's easier to make good choices every day. Sometimes, what seems harmless in your diet can interfere with your circulation, mood, or even the medications you already take. Adjusting this calmly in the right way can bring more comfort, less pain, and more security to live well after 60.